let's now move on to the manager of the season as well. So that manager, let's look at the managers nominated as well. It's the backlist manager of the season. We have the likes of Arsenal's Mikel Arteta there. He's had quite a very good season with his team. There is Roberto De Zerbi, also of Brighton. Unai Emery of Aston Villa had quite a remarkable season as well with the Aston Villa team. Then the Pep Guardiola, a very, very top manager. He's almost there in terms of wrapping up another league title. Eddie Howe, who has had a very splendid season with Newcastle United as well. And then Marco Silva of Fulham. Fulham just came. They are part of the newbies this season, and Marco Silva is having a ride as well with them in the English Premier League. So 6 managers nominated, and there's a favourite there. But guys, let me pick your thoughts as to if you are to pick who has done exceptionally well with what he has, the sort of talent he has. Who would you pick? Let me start with Ellie on this one.
I think in all the categories, this one is the toughest one. In terms of the fact that every manager on here has a stake to the claim for the award.
They have a very good case.
Every manager on here has a stake to it. For me, in thinking of if I had a vote, I would have changed my vote. I would have changed my name from like 5 times from February till now. Because people keep coming up, it keeps changing. And that is why I would have wanted this award personally to be voted for at the end of the season. Because there are still things to decide. For example, at first I thought I would have given it to Mikel Arteta, but Arsenal slumping for me the last month means I cannot pick him over.
So Arteta is off now.
So Arteta for now is off. But then again, Eddie Howe is my next pick. But Pep Guardiola is on the verge of completing a treble. He's on the verge of completing.
But this is just for the Premier League.
Yeah, but he's on.
So let's look at his performance in the Premier League.
Let's forget about the other stuff.
We cannot. You see, the thing of this awards is that we've seen people vote for these kind of awards, and they do not. You cannot ignore context in these things. Last year, Klopp won the award, right? Klopp won it, and Klopp wasn't better than Pep Guardiola last year, but he did exceptionally well in the cup competitions, and all that was factored in. So we cannot ignore the other factors playing into it. Even though it's a Premier League award, we cannot ignore the other factors. So for me, Pep Guardiola it's between Pep Guardiola and Eddie Howe for me right now. But Eddie Howe will be my pick, depending on if he's able to see it through and secure top four for Newcastle, because that would be an amazing story. Given and Eddie Howe's story starts from last year January, where he picked up the team from. Their meteoric rise from that point to where they are now is what does it for me. At the start of the season, regardless of whatever we think of Newcastle, they pumped the injection of money, the injection of fans, new owners, and everything.
The team has not really changed that much.
Exactly. And for me, the decisions he's been making in terms of tactical changes and the players, some of the players he's lost to injury, some of the ones he's introduced. And the general play of Newcastle this season impresses me so much that I would want Eddie Howe to win it. But that will all depend on where Newcastle finish at the end of the season. If they finish in the top 4, then he takes it for me. If not, then the safest option is Pep Guardiola.
Looking at what Pep has done all season with Manchester City, it's not good enough if Newcastle finish in the top 4.
No.
I mean, did you expect Newcastle to finish in the top 4? I think that's how we have to look at it.
There's new investment for them. There's money in the team now.
How many new players from last season to this season?
At the start of the season, did you include Newcastle in your top 4 prediction?
No.
Did you include them in your top 6 prediction?
No.
So that makes my point. That's why I think Eddie Howe deserves to be there. Because for 20 years, they've not been able to make it into the top 4.
And I agree with Elikem, because if you look at you are saying cash injection. I think Isak is the only new signing who has played a significant role this season. Yeah. I think him and Botman.
Exactly.
It's about 2, because Guimaraes joined last year. So for the most part, the squad has not had. It's not like they've bought 5 new players, 6 new players. If anything, they've added 2, and one is only the second half of the season we are really seeing him. Botman has started from the beginning. Guimaraes joined last January. So I think, considering how settled the squad is, I can understand the case for Eddie Howe.
So you're also picking Eddie Howe over Pep Guardiola? No. Okay, who then do you pick then?
My nominee is actually not even on the form, and I'm very disappointed.
Tell me about it.
Gary O'Neill. of
Gary
Bournemouth.
Of Bournemouth. Wow,
Yes.
he's had quite a very interesting season. At a point in time, I think
we're
I added
all
him to my teams to be relegated as well.
we're all sure Bournemouth will be gone, and they are safe. There's games left, and they are safe. And for me,
what is it about their story that is so fascinating?
I think that's a
win
lot more impressive, considering the fact that, look, Scott Parker said this squad is not good enough after the 9-0 loss, gets sacked. They give him the caretaker job. He kind of steadies the ship. He said, okay, let's give him a chance. All these other teams are spending money, changing manager. Look how many players Nottingham Forest have bought. Leeds have also spent a big amount of money. And on paper, for me, they had the worst squad starting the season. Yeah. In January, they improved their squad a bit, but it didn't go from suddenly being one of the better squads in the league. No. But here they are. They've managed to secure their top flight status with games to spare. They've gotten some impressive results. For me, I think that's more impressive because I think he's making more out of what he has. The same way we are giving Eddie Howe credit. It's the same way I would give Gary O'Neill credit. So for me, it's very disappointing that Gary O'Neill is not even nominated to start with, because I think he's done the best job all season.
Okay, but sticking to the nominees we have now, the 6 managers, from Arteta to Guardiola, Unai Emery, De Zerbi, who would you pick then?
I think I'll give it to Unai Emery.
Unai Emery's story for Aston Villa.
Yeah, because I think when you look at Aston Villa last season, they finished, 14th?
Yeah.
No one had them penciled in for a European place. And I always go back to this example. I had an argument with my cousin. He watches a lot of football. That if you look at the Aston Villa team, they should be, with the amount of money they spend, they should be in the top half. They should be at least around the European place. If they don't make it Europe, that's fine. But they should be finishing 9th, 8th, 7th, somewhere there to kind of put pressure on Europe. And he said that he looked at the players. There was no chance. And for me, the fact that Gerrard had this team playing so badly that they were getting into a relegation fight, and Emery has come and turned it around. And people were even saying at a point that, hey, can they make the Champions League? I think for this season alone, that's a huge story. If we were to spread the award over the last 2 seasons, I would say Eddie Howe. Because I think his story started from last season, and he's kind of continued the momentum. But I think in the confines of this season,
Unai Emery for you.
Unai Emery for me. So if I had to rank the people on this, I would say Unai Emery, Eddie Howe, and then De Zerbi.
Would you be surprised then if Pep Guardiola wins this because of the fact that he's won the title?
I won't be surprised. But I think for me, I like to look at the overachievement aspect. Winning the league, it's impressive. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason why there's only one winner. So he's a valid winner if he was to win the award. For me, that's not in question. But I think we have to look at the overachievement aspect, because even Marco Silva, the team has overachieved to an extent. So I think everyone
even
is...
Arteta under
Arteta has overachieved, but I think his case is a bit soured by the fact that they've been looked at as a team that's bottled the title and whatever. I don't subscribe to that personally, but we are talking about the narrative.
Exactly, so let's not go into that.
So they are being looked at as a team that has thrown away the title. So that would definitely work against him. But again, he's done a very good job. I think he's been amazing. So, like I said, everyone is a worthy winner, but I think Gary O'Neill, considering the task he had and the fact that the Premier League is more competitive than ever, especially in the lower half, working one of the worst squads in the league and getting a tune out of them and kind of pushing it to the limit and getting them safe with time, because they're out of it. They don't have any more stress for the rest of the season. They can take their next 2 games relaxed.
I need them to do a job for me tomorrow.
What?
I need them to do a job for me tomorrow.
They have to do it for boys.
I need them to do a job for
But
me.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so impressive for me, because, like I said, everyone was convinced they were going down. I think, aside the most diehard Bournemouth fans, everybody expected them to finish last. I think everyone expected them to carry the table. And here they are. They've kind of managed to...
He has been overlooked, though.
Yeah,
and
it happens.
huge favourites.
That's the thing.
Will you be surprised though if Pep sweeps this one?
No, never. I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised at all.
He's been the best manager in the league. And
even though you will not pick him,
it's like,
as your manager of the
I
season.
won't pick him because at the start of he's not exceeded expectations for me. He was expected to win it.
And he has won it.
Maybe the story, based on the context of what happened in this season, he had to chase for most part of the season. And eventually, people began to doubt him. Then he reminded us that he's still the man. So maybe that makes the story a bit interesting, but there have been bigger stories.
I don't think his story is that interesting. I think it would have been more of a scandal if he had a striker score 36 goals and didn't win the league.
You expected him. He was favourite to win the league.
You're right, he was favourite, but you also have to meet your expectations. I think there's that element, that there's the excellence aspect, the fact that 3 in a row. This is the 5th time. Yeah. This is going to be the 5th team in British football in English football history to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, the last person to do that was Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yes,
so
in the Premier League era, only Man U have done it, and City are about to join them. And remember, before Pep Guardiola became Man City manager, they had never won back-to-back titles, and he did that. Liverpool came, and he's done it again, and he's about to make it 3 in a row. So I think we can't underestimate the work Pep Guardiola has done. So he'll be a worthy winner, but for me, I think you have to look at the people who are making. I think the league title is enough reward for what he's done. So we should take that. But I think you should look at the guys who they are doing a lot with very little. There's no trophy prospects, but they've kind of exceeded all expectations. I think those are the people who should be getting the shout for manager of the year, because they are the ones squeezing the juice out of their stones.
Okay, let's